All right, guys, welcome to JHouze Radio, episode 45, your variety podcast for film, gaming, and pop culture. I'm your host, KJ, joined by my brother from another mother, Los.
What up?
How's
What
it?
up?
We have Viv in the house. I'm still working on a nickname for you, but we have Viv here. And we have Miss First Person Shooter herself. Pajama Mama is back. How's it going?
Hi.
Nice Rugrats t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah,
Appreciate
right.
it. Appreciate it.
We'll be back in 2 seconds. I forgot to do something. 2 seconds. You guys
Okay.
can start without me because I'll go last with my list of the list.
You literally have 2 seconds. That's all you got. Your time is up right now, actually. All right, so today we're jumping into our top 5 90s TV shows, basically. So, and we're also going to throw in like pretty much like our honorable mention as well. We're going to start off with our favorite military film / 4th of July film as well, too. So, but before we do that, how's it going, PJ? What's new with you? What you been up to since you were last on?
Ooh. Well, we kind of took a step back from a lot of social media presence because I have been getting more into graphic design and creating overlays, transitions, and other like moving effects when it comes to art. So
Okay.
I've been
Interesting.
focusing on graphic design.
Awesome. Now, are you doing more like work for other clients or like more so for yourself right now?
So I did a transition for me, and one of my mods, Night Fury, he started streaming, and so he was like, dude, can you just do everything for me? And I was like, well, I'm really like new to all of this, so it'd be an experiment. He goes, well, let me be your experiment. So I did a whole stream package from like overlays, BRB, starting soon, panels, emotes, everything. I'm talking about like you need it for streaming, I made it for him. And
Nice.
his friend saw it. Now his friend wants one. And I'm like, dude, I'm new to this. It's not going to be like everybody else's. And he goes, that's fine. I like what you did. So I've been doing it for him. So it's technically a client, but I'm not like open to public.
Let's jump into what are your guys' favorite Independence Day / war movies? We'll start with
War
you,
movie,
Los. Yeah.
Bridge Over the River Kwai. It has Obi-Wan Kenobi in it when he was young and he played a general.
Okay.
Ewan McGregor.
No. The original Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The OG.
OG.
The
Yeah.
OG Obi-Wan.
You find out he's a redhead because you see his hair before it all grayed out.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Saving Private Ryan is one of my favorite war films.
Saving Private Ryan, that's actually a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Seven Samurai is another great war movie for me. And 4th of July, I mean, come on, Independence Day.
Yes, I was gonna say that. That's probably my favorite 4th of July / war movie in general. It's Will Smith. Like you kind of can't go wrong with Will Smith. You know what I mean? So
You can't.
Although
what
I do
about
have
you?
a runner-up.
Oh, you got a runner-up? Okay.
Is oh my god, crap, and I just had the name on the tip of my tongue.
Who's in it?
Neil Patrick Harris is in it. Oh, what the hell? Hold on 1 second. You got to
Okay.
give me a second to Google this.
Alright.
I literally looked up best patriotic 4th of July movies,
Mhm.
and number 3 is National Treasure.
Yes.
National Treasure? Really?
Yes.
Air Force One, Zero Dark 30, Jaws is rated number 6 for the best because the film is set on 4th of July.
Yep.
That's why Jaws is rated
Oh.
number
Also got
6.
released during that time too. So
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I think.
Starship Troopers.
What is it?
Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah,
There's a
Starship
one-
Troopers was a good one. I remember that one. Yes, I used to love that film. By the way, I used to love that film. But
oh my gosh, so
I
many
think
good
I think
ones.
for me overall, Independence Day would have to be my favorite one. Will Smith is one of my favorite actors of all time, and it was just a good film. I mean, we had a lot of alien films and things like that over the years, and I think Independence Day just did it right. It was corny. It was a corny film, but it was like one of those good corny films. What about you, PJ? What's your favorite Independence Day / 4th of July film
So
/ war
I
film?
was gonna go Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan, because it was the first one to pop. But I'm looking at the list, and it kind of makes me want to say one of the ones on the list, which is The Sandlot, because there's an epic 4th of July scene.
Oh yes, the Sandlot. I forgot about that.
I know. I'm looking at these, and there are so many good ones on this. They even have Captain America, the First Avenger, apparently. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
he came out.
America.
He came out during
Ro-
that.
Rocky 1 through 4. Is celebrate the 4th of July holiday with Rocky and the movie marathon.
Oh wow, I didn't even
That
think
I
about
wouldn't
Rocky.
consider that to be a 4th of July one, but that's
I
okay.
do.
Yeah.
We
it was
do.
set in Philadelphia.
This house does.
4th of July. What are we putting on? Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah,
Four.
Rocky.
That's it. Yeah, the whole 9.
Oh, okay. She's sorry. She's gonna
I shall break
apparently
you.
join.
Oh
Let you.
man.
My
You
daughter
are
wanted to let
lucky.
you guys know that you can come to our house tomorrow. She
Aw.
can-
Oh
Aw,
really?
You.
Yeah, if you
What
guys
is-
wanted to, you can come over tomorrow.
what
Yeah,
is
we're
your-
all going.
what
Chat,
is
we're
your
all going to
daughter's name?
PJ's house.
Parker,
Hi, Miss Parker.
you say hi.
There we go. There we go. We have a 5th host on JHouze Radio today, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, tomorrow we're all going to PJ's house apparently, so I am down. I'm totally down.
And don't forget
Tomorrow we're
the
serving
don't forget the hot
Caribbean
dogs.
jerk steak.
boys.
I'll do
Don't
I'm
get-
doing
Yeah, I'm
steak
bringing
tomorrow.
chorizos and tortillas.
There you go.
Oh,
I'll bring the bean dip and the chili.
I'll say
And
I'm gonna go to the
chimol.
store and pick up some really good carne asada from Food City then.
I'm just want to bring the grape soda. That's all I got.
You also got to bring the potato salad, just no raisins.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Who
never
puts raisins in her potato salad? That is
I don't.
disgusting.
I
People
didn't know
do
that was
the
a thing.
randomest things. Let me tell you, down here in the South, let me tell you.
Why
They also
though?
put apples and stuffing.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Battle Los Angeles?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
I
is
wanna
that the
say-
one with Rihanna in it? I think
Was she? in
Battle
it?
Battlefield Los
Oh,
Angeles.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I think that had Rihanna in it.
You said
No, it had what's her name? The one who was in the Fast and the Furious.
Michelle Rodriguez
Yes, I think that was her.
as the Sergeant Elena.
Yeah, she was one of a sergeant. Yeah, I think.
Oh, really? Maybe you know. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of Battleship. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh,
I just
okay,
love
okay.
that movie because there's a lot of moments where you hear like correct terminology, like the way they deploy and things like that is correct, and you don't see that a lot in movies.
No.
Like
Oh,
they'll make stuff up.
All right,
So,
my husband will tear apart films if they don't.
What was,
or do, like,
what was your
military shit, right?
husband's? What was your husband's favorite?
He ended up going with Captain America. First
Captain America. Okay, that's a good
Nice.
pick.
That's a
That's
good
it.
one.
That's a good pick.
All right, so I had difficulty. I told before the show started, I was telling Keith I've had a lot of trouble trying to hone down just a few selections because there was so many good ones. So, my first all-time favorite was already mentioned, which was Independence Day. But my second all-time favorite Independence movie is Top Gun.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Hated that movie.
Why do you not like Top Gun, Los? What's up with that?
Just different
Let's just
feel.
look. Let's just call it what it is. That's like that. I'm sorry, but that movie was such a gay porno without the actual sex scenes.
Oh my God.
Babe, did you like Top Gun?
Why do you say that? Why do you
The
say that?
pioneering movie
Why
for
don't
its
you
time.
ask? Why don't you ask PJ's husband what they say about the Navy?
What did they
Oh
say
my
about the Navy?
Oh, he wants because he said it
my
was a gay
God.
porno,
Without the sex
and then he
scenes.
goes without the sex scenes, and then he said to ask you what they
About
say
the
about the
Navy.
Navy. You mean the seamen?
Exactly.
Wait,
Yeah,
what's the
we
whole
got
thing
it.
behind that?
Technically, this was not Navy all the way. This was more Air Force. rather than
Navy are known
no.
for being on ships for a long time alone with males.
Of course.
So
I
they
know.
relieve themselves with other males. So they're known for being on the more other side. And what was it? Then you have the Marines that eat crayons because they think it tastes good, I guess. And then you have the
What?
chair force.
Yes, the chair force.
I don't know anything bad about the army because we're the best.
Oh man, FYI, JHouze Radio does not condone any negative actions towards the military. So
Anyway,
listen,
so
I know
that was
a
my second.
lot of
Can I go
Marines.
through my list? Everybody got theirs. I want to
yeah.
do
Sorry,
my
go ahead.
list.
do your list, do your list, do your list.
All right. Real quick. It was Top Gun number 2, AI number 3, Pearl Harbor number 4, and The Patriot number 5.
Oh,
Patriot. I forgot about that one.
good one. Good list. Good list.
Those are some good ones.
Yeah, you definitely put my one list to shame of like one movie, but definitely a good list. The
couldn't
Patriot was a good
choose.
film.
I couldn't choose. There's also A League of Their Own that came out on Independence Day too. So, but it's
I
for
love
me.
that
Independence-
movie. Love
but
it.
it's a difficult choice to make when you really feel like it really, brings out the Independence Day feel. So
Yeah,
those 5 are like my top 5.
interesting.
Okay, now I'm done. Thanks.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick our favorite 90s TV shows. It doesn't have to go in order. It can be in random order. So PJ, since you are our guest, I'm gonna let you start with your first one. So then we'll have everybody just go one by one, basically on their 5. So PJ, we'll start with you. What is one of your favorites?
So I am a 90s baby. Like I was 7 at the end of the 90s. Or when we went into the 2000s.
It's the baby.
So I watched a lot of the cartoons, but as I got older, they were still playing. So I'm gonna go with one that I watched quite a bit, and that's gonna be Sister Sister. I loved Tia and
Wow.
Yes,
pick.
sister.
That's
That's a
yeah.
good pick.
Sister.
yeah, it came out in 1994. So
Oh,
and they
man.
both became like cooks, and they have like their own shows on the cooking channel now and everything.
They're
follow.
very entrepreneurial, like very, very. They're super,
Yes.
super smart, and each of their husbands are really, really supportive of their stuff.
Really? I used to love that show too, actually. I didn't watch it religiously, but it was something that I dove into a few times.
No,
Yeah,
kidding.
It's one
I
that
mean,
I wanna
They were.
I want to rewatch as an adult so I can actually pick up on the beauty of the writing of the show. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like as a kid I didn't know as much of what was going on, so I'd like to see what I missed. I did that with Friends, which
Yeah.
Friends is hands down my favorite though, but we went with Sister Sister.
Yeah. Sister Sister is definitely a good one, honestly. I forgot Marcus Houston was in that show actually during that time. Yeah, that was a good show. I used to like it. All right, Viv, you're next. What's one of your top 5?
This is the hardest decision ever.
Oh my
It's just really hard. But my number one, it's The Outer Limits.
The Outer Limits. I don't know that one.
Good
Okay,
show.
so we all know what the Twilight Zone is. In my opinion,
Twilight Zone. What is
Outer
that?
Limits. Huh?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Um, in my opinion, The Outer Limits is kind of like the 90s version of the Twilight Zone. And they would give it at late at night on, like, in New Jersey, it's Channel 9 or Channel 5. Fox or the WPL or the not the WC. No. The my 9 or my whatever channel.
I have no idea.
And it would be on Saturday nights at like 11:30, almost midnight, and they would have a full hour of that. And at the time that I started watching it, I was able to have a TV in my room, so I would turn it on really low so like I could watch it. And it had a lot of creepy sci-fi stuff, but as a young person in the 90s, that was like so intriguing. So I was like, which alien or which random stuff is that gonna? It's kind of like creepypasta or a Tales from the Crypt or stuff like that.
Oh,
Those
I
kind of shows.
forgot about that one.
So
That's a good one.
Outer Limits sort of infuses a lot of that stuff together, but with a different spin on it, and it's very streamlined. I loved the way that the presentation came out. It was during the same time like the X-Files came out, so like it's kind of like the night version of the X-Files. It's very cool. It ran only like maybe 2 or 3 seasons, but it was such a great show, and I want to, like she said, Miss PJ, I want to go back and watch it again to like see what I can pick up from it now, because I
Yeah.
thought that was one of the coolest things.
Well,
So
the
that's my-
Outer Limits originally aired in the 60s. It actually competed against the Twilight Zone. So the 90s
Yeah.
was a remake, and it's better now watching it than it was when you were younger. You pick up on all the subtle details they talk about.
All right, Los, you're next. What's one of your picks? One of your 5
My-
picks.
First pick is Stargate SG-1.
How did I know you was going to start off with something like that?
Yeah, listen. The thing about Stargate that I like, not only was it sci-fi, but it had a different spin on sci-fi, where people from today, meaning the 90s back then, stumbled upon a technology they get to use. So people from today are going out on these adventures. So every reference they make is stuff that, it's not made up. It's real stuff,
Yeah.
It's a lot of Simpsons references and things like that. And so you get to see how people from our time would react. And it's very, although it is the chair force, it is very military positive. And it does put the military in a very good light. And it shows how people from the military will sacrifice themselves for the brothers in arms. They'll sacrifice their whole team to make sure the mission gets accomplished. It is very, very military positive. And it's a sci-fi show that ran, I think, 10 or 11 years.
Wow,
Just that
really?
one show. And it had
didn't-
2
It
spin.
had MacGyver in it.
Yes.
I didn't realize that it ran that long. Wow, that's crazy.
Richard Dean Anderson, right? That was his
Yeah,
name.
Richard Dean Anderson.
He was my hero.
And
So
the
now, is that-
actor-
Oh, go
the
ahead, Los.
actor who played Teal, Christopher Judge, I believe his name is.
Yes, Christopher
Does
Judge.
a lot of voiceover work in cartoons.
Yes, he does. Particularly in the animated Batman scenes.
So, like, is this based off of
Movie.
the
And
movie?
a graphic novel.
It's based off the original movie Stargate. Do you guys remember
the-
that one?
And
Yeah,
a
I remember
graphic
that movie.
novel, I think, too.
No, the graphic novel is based off the movie. The movie came
Oh,
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a
interesting.
Big
Okay.
Stargate fan.
Yeah, I love the movie. The movie was actually pretty good, actually. So, all right, that's awesome. Good pick. Good
Choice.
pick.
Yay.
All right, so I'm gonna start with mine. My first one is gonna be based off of PJ's T-shirt, Rugrats. As a kid, man, I could not get enough of that show. I watched that show every day as much as I could. When the movies came out, I was super excited about it. Rugrats was like my childhood. Like, that's all I watched back in the day. And yeah, I mean, like, you kind of can't go wrong with talking babies. You know what I mean? So
How do you feel about Paramount's remake?
I saw it. I think the design choice is a little weird. For the characters. I mean, over the years they've tried different movies with different, design choices, and this one just looks a little weird. I think it's almost going for like a Pixar kind of feel.
Yeah, I
And-
feel like that 3D animations rather
Yeah.
than that 2D.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's to appeal to our children today who most their TV shows, like even Paw Patrol is 3D animated.
yeah,
So I think it's trying to create that bridge between us and our own children so that we can enjoy they can recognize, Chucky on my shorts now because they see him and they know
Yeah.
who Tommy is.
yeah. I
don't
figured
li-
that
I
was
think
the
it's
reason
weird,
why
though.
they were doing that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna check it out because obviously, like I said, I grew up on Rugrats. I just think that the design choice is just a little weird, but we'll see. Did you hear that Phil and Lil's mom now is supposed to be like lesbian or gay or something like that in this new film? Like, they're supposed to be representing that. Did you hear about that?
Bisexual.
Yeah.
Bisexual?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird.
They went. So I don't know how they're where they're gonna go with it. I am curious to see it. I know that they did things that even moms were using today, or like a couple years ago when I was more into like what moms cared about. I don't really care what moms care about now, but back then when I cared what other moms did with their kids, I was worried about like what was it, breastfeeding. And they would use Phil and Lil's mom because back when we were younger, there were scenes where Phil and Lil's mom would talk openly about breastfeeding, and it was like no big deal. And we were kids exposed to it because one of the arguments against breastfeeding is like, well, your kid's gonna see your boob, and it's like, well, cool, and my kid knows that I'm feeding a baby, so why doesn't your kid know that I'm feeding a baby?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So I know that they used her for a lot of mom positivity. Is kind of my point.
The thing is too, like a kid doesn't have the same mentality as us adults. You know, as an adult, they're like boobs, but as a kid, they're just like, oh, mommy's just feeding the baby, and that's it.
Yeah,
and people
exactly.
need to realize that. Our minds are not the same as a kid.
The innocence is still there. It's not like it's been tampered or, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're still young enough.
My 5-year-old, when I had my baby, he was 3, or well, he was 2 when I had Parker. And so I would feed my baby, and I bought him a baby doll because he wanted to take care of his baby. So he would change the baby when I changed my baby. He would feed the baby when I fed my baby. And I never fully corrected him because at 2, he's not going to understand you don't have boobies, you can't feed. So I just kind of let him breastfeed his baby.
Right.
But
yeah,
I mean, that's just what it was for him. Even at daycare, like his daycare, I picked him up. They're like, "Hey, so your son likes to play with the baby dolls?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "And he was breastfeeding," and I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "We think it's cute and we promoted it," and I was like, "Thank you," because I had a in-home daycare that I went to, and they were very like on the same page as me.
Okay.
Nice.
Interesting. All right, PJ, what is your next pick for your 90s film? Number 2.
All right, so it was when I was making my list, I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't
TV show.
decide of classics
TV show. That's what I meant
or
to say.
things I watched. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, there are so many good classics out there.
Yeah.
But there was did I personally watch? I'm gonna go with Friends for my second one because I did rewatch it and I did watch it a lot growing up, so I'm gonna go with Friends.
Awesome. Yeah,
And I need the
definitely
record
on my
to
list.
show they were on a break. Just need the
Yes,
record
they
to show
were.
that.
Yes, they were. Anybody who watched that show, yes, would know. They were on a break.
I just have a slight problem with Friends. They live in New York, but there's almost no minorities on the show.
Oh,
I have to disagree. For one,
Okay, when did you ever see a Latino on that show?
Okay, for one,
Never.
wait. For one, Joey definitely had a Latino roommate for like 2 seasons. That's for one. 2, Ross dated a black woman for like almost 3 seasons. Ross dated an Asian woman for like half a season. Not Rachel. Monica had a chef who worked in her kitchen with her. She was black. And like some of these roles, now I'll admit, like the main cast.
Anderson dated Paolo.
What was he?
He was Italian.
He was Italian. So yeah, as far as the main cast, yes, they were all pretty much white and Italian, which is still pretty much the same thing.
yeah, he dated Charlie Wheeler was his black girlfriend. I don't find his Asian girlfriend though.
Yeah, yeah, she was only for like half a season.
Or Sylvie.
I don't remember.
But his roommate, Joey's roommate, wasn't Spanish. Joey's roommate was Jewish.
Oh, he was Jewish? Oh, okay. But I mean, as far as the main cast, yes, the main cast wasn't diverse, but they still made sure that they included some diverse cast members around them throughout the years. So I don't think it was.
Did we have a lot of mixed TV shows? Because I mean,
that many.
growing up, I had my black shows that I watched, and I had my white shows that I watched. I don't know how else to get it because I had like Sister that I watched. I had what was it?
With
One
Mr.
Step or
Cooper.
One Family, or what was it? It was the dad with the little girl. I don't remember the whole, or I never remembered the name of the show, but I watched it all the time.
Yeah.
But like, I'm looking through these and like, I don't even see any TV show with a mixed cast. I literally see one mixed cast on all of these like 90s shows, and it's Boy Meets World.
Yep.
And
Yes. I'm gonna touch on that one
and
too.
I was gonna say, and I actually don't remember the mixed character that they have on there. You know, or the
Boy Meets
character
World didn't experiment with that too much until like later in its life cycle. I think they added a female black cast member that was dating Corey's friend. I forgot her name. But later on they added a female black cast member. So yeah, I think during the 90s we probably didn't see too many, as far as the main cast, we didn't see too many mixed casts during
Yes,
the
we did.
90s.
Yes, we did.
What?
Saved by the Bell.
Mm.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
true. I mean, I think when it came to the school atmosphere, that was a little more expected because it's school. But like outside of like the school TV shows, we really didn't have too many mixed cast shows. Like we had them, but they're not as common as they are now. I feel like now they're more I feel like it's
think
more
in
common
the
now.
80s, in the 80s there was like two big shows that were mixed. One of them being Different Strokes, for the main reason that they had, you know, the dad adopted two African American kids and they lived in uptown New York or whatever. And
Mhm.
then you had The Facts of Life, which sort of tied in that story to the daughter who went away to boarding school, and you had a mixed crew of women, and it was one of those kind of shows. So that was like that, and Give Me a Break was another one with Nell Carter, and she was a housekeeper who took care of a white household.
Yeah.
So the mixed was modifying a little bit, but it wasn't all the way there. You know, it
The
was getting
the first TV show that ever had a completely diverse cast was the Rush Hour TV show in 2016. First TV show with a total diverse cast: a black man, an Asian man, a Latina woman, and a white woman. The main cast. The first TV show with a total diverse cast, 2016. That's how long it's been where you actually see a completely diverse cast on TV as main characters.
right.
Yeah.
And even still, you don't really see that now.
It's very hard to see that actually be fully diverse in character, like panels, because you have too many of the standardized stuff and everybody's visually looking at, you know,
Yeah.
certain things. But
My whole thing is that was then, this is now, and you have to understand now, you know, people aren't invisible. You know, it started out, you know, with black people being in movies. And think about it, the woman who won I forget her name, the black woman who won the Oscar for Gone with the Wind, had to accept it in an empty room because they didn't want her on stage accepting the Oscar in front of everybody.
right.
So things have gotten better, but let's face it, and look at this podcast right now. Diverse cast. You can't say no. You know,
Yeah, true
and
indeed,
to
true
me,
indeed.
this is more the norm of, you know, a diverse group of people getting together than what's on TV. On TV, it's still very rare, you
Yeah.
know, and you have a lot of people like Pablo Pascal. People forget he's Peruvian, you know.
Yeah.
And
Selma
only
Hayek, Mexicana.
Selma Hayek.
Hey,
But Selma
for
Hayek
my
is because she's
sci-fi
global.
peeps,
Hmm.
there's a
Sci-fi is
couple
different.
on here. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm looking at just a list of 90s shows. I googled 90s shows and it's got it by category. And I'm looking through them just to look at the cover, and the sci-fi category has the most diverse than any of them. The only one that I really see that was a big show that's not sci-fi is 90210, and I never watched the show. So
Yeah.
Getting back to the show she picked, yeah, I gotta agree with PJ. Friends is Definitely my favorite TV show from the 90s. I to this day still watch it. I just love that show. So based off the show though, if you guys were to pick one character from Friends, who would you guys be? Start for you,
Smart
PJ.
version of Joey.
The smart version of
Phoebe.
Joey.
Yeah.
Probably my version of Phoebe, or yeah, my version of Phoebe. I'm sticking
Yeah, Viv, I can see you being Phoebe 100%.
Definitely Phoebe.
I don't know. I don't
You're
know.
both
who I would be,
demean.
to be honest. I want to say I would be Phoebe because I'd be more out there, but I think that I'm definitely not a Monica, and I don't think that I would be a Rachel either. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to be a Rachel with purple hair and a lip ring. You know what I mean? She's more cookie cutter, like what you should be as a girl. Is what I always
next
view
door
her.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
very
and that's
cute
not me.
and very
I'm more alt.
emotional.
PJ,
Yeah.
you might be a Chandler because you got sarcastic
Yeah,
humor.
I can see that. PJ's
I was
Chandler.
saying I would have to be a gender bender of one of the guys, and I don't think that I would be Ross, and I don't think that I am quite a Joey. So yeah, I would either be a Chandler or a Phoebe.
Chandler.
I can see that.
think, personally.
I can 100 see a Chandler. Yeah.
I'll take a Chandler.
I think
He
I
was
would
one of my
be.
favorites too.
I think I'd be Ross. Honestly.
Yeah. I was really hoping you would say that because you are such a Ross.
We
Definitely a Ross.
Did you guys watch the reunion at all?
Yeah.
No, I watched it.
I watched it.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
man.
good. It was good.
So
I
good.
loved it. I cried with the cast when they came on and they're like looking at the set, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. And they read over the lines, and they did the whole thing.
Yeah,
I
it
loved
was
it.
it was great. I wasn't expecting to like really get into it because like most reunion shows are like pretty corny, but for some reason there's something about that show, man, that watching that reunion like kind of hit me. Me and PJ agree on Friends. Viv, you're next. What's your number 2?
Fresh
Or
Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, okay. You actually took my one too. All right, so that's my one too.
It's such a good movie. When I went away to France for about a month, I had no idea that they would have that show playing, and they had it playing in French, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're trying to be in ghetto but in French, and it's so funny. And
That's
I was
funny.
like, oh. But in that cast, like they also had a reunion show, by the way.
Yes, I gotta
and
see that.
in that cast, it was pioneering in that, yeah, we had the Huxtables, yeah, we had the other, there was a, what is it, Samson and Son, and all the other kind of like just nuclear African American families, but this particular one, it had a lot of economic like diversity, and by that they were trying to focus on, you know, Will Smith coming from West Philadelphia, you know,
Born and raised.
I'm so proud.
You took my
That's where I
line.
spend most of my days.
I tried not to finish it. I'm like,
I know it's so hard not to say
Why'd
it.
you do it? Why'd you say it?
It was
This
so
is
hard
why I
not to
did it.
say that. It was really hard not to say that.
Intentionally said. But the thing is that they had so much to also encapsulate for each episode, because not only did they had to deal with economic changes, social acceptance. I mean, even as a teenager, you're coming from an urban setting to like a really prim and proper preppy situation. Like
Yeah.
as a teenager, and you're a guy and you're super tall and awkward with big ears, like come on, you know. It's and then you have like a really goofy cousin who just makes himself want to be part of that kind of world, and you're like, come on, dude. So there's a lot of things that you can identify with. In particular, also now that I've started watching it with my boyfriend's niece, she totally digs it, and we started watching it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And you can see the evolution of how people are, and from the adult perspective now, you're like, oh my God, they were talking about that stuff and I didn't catch it. Like, it's so eye-opening. So yeah, Fresh Prince, and of course, DJ Jazzy Jeff, man, he's still rocking, he's still around, and he still did that. You're going to your aunties and uncles in Bel Air.
Yeah.
I never found the show funny. I never liked that show. I
Really?
never liked Fresh Prince.
Los, get out of here. You're off the
I-
podcast. Get out of here, man.
I watched it every now and then.
So much.
Yeah. I love that show. Fresh Prince. Will Smith was like during that time, he was one of my favorite artists. He was just getting into film and acting at that time. I loved him in Bad Boys. I just like his work. I don't like a lot of his work, like a lot of his recent work it hasn't been that great. But during that time, Will Smith was like, that was my guy, man. So yeah, that was definitely on my list as well. So
It was on my popular list, but not my favorite list. I watched it like when my other shows weren't on. So I never watched it from start to beginning. I didn't watch it religiously. I did relate to it because I was a foster kid that like went from ghetto parents to a guardian that was a family member.
yeah.
And so I related a lot to him in some sense, and I would watch it and I liked that. But I just had other shows that I watched. It was just kind of like it was the one that was on that I kind of watched every now and then, but it wasn't like my go-to.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to rewatch it now that I'm older because of all the things that they could talk about that I think that I would knowingly be able to relate rather
like
than just
your
like,
light bulbs would go off, be like, oh yeah, that, like, oh
Yeah,
my god,
and
they
so
talked about that.
that's what I want to do because that's what I did with Friends, and I also did
Yeah.
it with like Big Bang and a couple other sitcoms. I love sitcoms. I'm the biggest like sitcom person ever.
All right, Los, you're number 2.
Martin.
Martin.
I love that show.
I forgot about Martin.
Gina,
didn't-
what is wrong with you?
I didn't think you would be a Martin guy. I don't see
I
you as a
love
Martin
Martin.
guy.
And plus, Tommy, oh Tommy, what do you do for work? You know what I do.
Nobody knows what he does.
I love
It's like
that
Chandler.
show.
No one knows what Chandler does.
Yeah, no. Nobody knows
and
what
my
Chandler
favorite
does.
thing, Jerome's in the house. I said Jerome's in the house.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
love that character. I loved Martin. It was such a good show because it was smart. It was witty. Like the punchlines kept coming one after another, after another, after another. Like I would have a hard time breathing from watching that show. Plus, Tisha Campbell had the only crush on her. Yo,
Oh yeah, Tisha Campbell was hot. Tisha Campbell was
she
hot.
still is hot. What are you talking about?
Yeah, man.
He looks
That's my
great
girl.
now.
Yeah, I used to watch Martin. I wasn't as into Martin as I was like other shows, but just kind of like PJ mentioned earlier, it was one of those shows that I just kind of came across here and there, watched a few episodes, but didn't really get into it too much. I mean, Martin's comedy to me was funny at times. It was, I think it
Probably
was
how Lois
Shaniqua.
feels about Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Like
probably the best way to
people
describe
that
it.
liked Fresh Prince probably weren't as into Martin, and people that liked Martin probably weren't as into Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
All that.
I mean, his comedy
But
was good
it
at times,
Shanae,
but
or was it Shanae or was it Shaniqua?
Shanae, I think it was.
Shanae was the girl. Yeah.
Fake lip.
I mean, I did like that he took like that inspiration from Eddie Murphy, where he just played so many characters. I thought that was pretty cool. Paying homage to Eddie. Yeah. So, but yeah, Martin wasn't really my cup of tea. It was cool once in a while, but it wasn't something that I watched regularly. So
Oh, I watched that all the time. Like if I had a bad week, I'd watch Martin and I just fucking laugh my ass off.
really,
And I've rewatched episodes and it's still fucking funny.
I might have to revisit it. Maybe I'll feel different about it. Well, my last two, you guys. Well, my next two, you guys pretty much already said. So I'm just gonna go straight to PJ. What's your third one, PJ?
I'm gonna go with Home Improvement.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Good
Yeah.
one.
I
Good
watched
one.
a lot of Home Improvement. Now I'm looking over. I watched a lot of like live action rather than like cartoons, unless it was like Saturday morning cartoons. I watched a lot of live action sitcoms, but Tim Allen and everything with the hay or the over the fence and everything.
Yes, I
best.
love that character. I love that they did that. And like no matter where he was at, he always had something covering his face. Like
Yes.
all
Yeah.
the time. Like a box of cereal or something. It was so hilarious how he did that, no matter what
Great
scene
in
he was in.
Halloween when he had the masks on and stuff.
are
I thought it
you?
was great.
Hi, how are you? How's it going, neighbor? Hey there, neighbor.
Yeah, even like newspaper and stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
Morning's
all
going
the
good, and you're
time.
like,
I loved it. Like, was there a reason why they did that, or they just wanted to make like a thing of that? I guess. Like, do you guys know?
It was just a
No.
running gag.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was probably a thing that it was one of those accidental, because anything with Tim Allen is like, if it's accidental and it works, he will work it into the show.
yeah,
He was a comedian to start, so just like Martin, just like Will Smith, like the comedian aspect of it, it's very like slapsticky. So
yeah,
Well, they actually did a couple episodes where they reused his footage and had him overdub other stuff
Mhm.
because he wasn't available for the show. He was off doing another gig. So like they creatively did that, sometimes too. It was interesting.
Wow.
it was a good one.
that
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
good choice. Very good choice.
I used to actually watch that show pretty religiously. Tim Allen was my guy during that time. So
That's another
love
one
that.
I would probably want to rewatch as well. Like all the sitcoms, I would love to rewatch them because I don't really like those sitcoms nowadays.
all right, what about you, Viv? What's your number 3?
Okay, this is a toss up, but I funneled it down.
Okay.
It was A Different World.
Ooh, good pick.
Ooh.
Forgot
And the
about
only
that one.
reason why I watched that one is, number one, Lisa Bonet was going to college. I mean, that was like a cool thing. And it's sort of the same thing like Different Strokes and Facts of Life. It was like a transitional story. So you never really finished the Huxtables, but you sort of did a little bit. And you started looking into a minority's college and its life. And
Yeah.
that was very intriguing to me because, college life is always like, traditional American, all American looking kind of college. But this was like urban college. This is what like the people who were on scholarship, they had to go to work study people, like stuff that I knew I had to do.
Yeah.
So it was good to see. And then the relationships, how they evolved with each other, how they grew up, how they started out as almost not knowing who they were, and then eventually becoming their own little school family, like that's pretty much and it had its moments of happiness and joy and funny slapstick.
Yeah.
Like, their version of Ross and Rachel was Jasmine Blythe, I think. No, Jasmine. Was it Jasmine? I forget the and Dwayne Wayne.
Yeah, yeah.
Kadeem
That was,
Hardison.
huh?
Kadeem Hardison is the actor's
Yeah.
name.
Yes, thank you. And so it was Dwayne Wayne and his ever loving, like always trying to go after the girl, and they couldn't really make it work. It's always like this weird
Yeah.
like, polar opposite thing, and that throughout the story made it, really cool. And a lot of good actors came from that.
Jada Pinkett was in there. I forgot.
That was her
Jada
first.
Pinkett.
After that, I think it was Fresh Prince. She did something there, and then she went to A Different World and did something there, and then she started working in film after that. Shortly
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, for
Now-
me, Kadeem Hardison carried that show.
Yeah.
Like he was really the heart of that show.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Initially, they wanted Lisa Bonet to do it, but it didn't. It didn't.
Well, because
work.
she got pregnant. That's why she got fired.
Wasn't A Different World a spin-off of The Cosby Show?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I just said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
Denise was going to college,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and that was
I
her
forgot
college.
about that. Los, what are we on 3? What's your third one, Los?
Animaniacs.
Oh man, why didn't I think of that?
Oh my god, I love that show. And Cree Summer was on it. She played Elmira.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, yes. I
Did you see
love
have you seen the
Animaniacs.
new one?
Yes, I saw all of them.
All of them?
fucking hysterical. I was laughing my ass off through that. It was so good. The new one,
Yeah.
but the old one was amazing.
Very classic, very nicely drawn too. I like the fact how they drew it at that time in the 90s. Animation in the 90s during like after school hours was extremely unique.
Yeah.
You can't find any other kind of animated cartoons like the ones that you would see after school in the 90s.
Yep.
And by after school, I mean you come home at 3:00 and then, you know, you hang out.
And then run to your
Five.
TV.
And then you do your homework, you know, that kind of stuff.
My thing what I loved about Animaniacs was not only was all the humor there for the kids, there was so many jokes for adults that went way over the kids' heads.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff I probably did not
Spielberg,
recognize.
it's Spielberg's jabs towards, you know, the up and ups to the executives, you know.
Yeah. My favorite joke is they were investigating something and they said, "Oh, fingerprints." And then you have Dot carrying prints. She's like, "I'd rather not," and just gets rid of them. You know, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, the sarcasm in that show was very different from a lot of the animated shows you had during that time. It's very different.
Very punchy, very in your face, kind of, you know, direct shots at the gut kind of thing. I loved it.
And Wacko's voice was basically the drummer from the Beatles. What's his name? Ringo Starr.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
The actor who did it imitated Ringo Starr.
Yep.
And that's the voice they went with, you know. And my favorite
Interesting.
line, "Do you swear?" What was it? "Do you swear?" "Hardly not," or something like that. I forget how it was.
Mhm.
But love Wacko. Love Wacko.
He was great.
What's the line from the show that to this day everybody still uses?
"Hello, nurse."
Hello, nurse.
No. I mean that one too, but what's the other one? Like that everybody uses. Think about it. Come on. I know you know this one.
I don't think I watched the show, to be honest.
There's so many of them.
What are you doing tomorrow, Los? Same thing I do everything. I mean,
we do
Okay,
same thing I do
Right.
every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
From Pinky in the brain. Yes,
To this
yes,
day,
yes.
everybody, a lot of people still use that line to this day. Yeah, I'm taking over the world tomorrow. All right, PJ, you're next. Number 4. What is your 4th favorite from the 90s?
So I'm gonna say I didn't pick any of my I didn't pick any cartoons this time.
Okay.
And my next 2 are gonna be late 90s, and they were hard to choose because I had quite a few to pick from. But I'm gonna go with Charmed. It was about
Wow.
witches.
I used to watch that.
everything.
Yes.
I hated that
I
show.
loved Charmed.
Yes,
And it was
girl.
the one show that was mine that like it's not the one that I watched with my brothers that I had to wait for. It wasn't one that I had to wait for, parents. It was my show that I seeked out, that I was like, that was the one I tried to record on the VHS and stuff like that. Like Charmed
Oh.
was my show.
Like that
Yeah.
VHS behind me.
VHS, man. Jeez.
The
Goodness gracious.
earlier you were talking about Rugrats, and the only movie that I owned as a kid was Rugrats Gone Wild, the iconic orange VHS. Wow.
With like the big plastic box.
Yeah.
Oh man. I remember that. I used to actually watch Charmed. I don't know why I got into it or what inspired me to want to watch it,
Theme
but
song of it.
I think it was one of the female characters from the show was on I think 90210 or something like that. I think that's why I got into it.
Well, Alyssa Milano was in it.
Alyssa Milano, yes. I was also a fan of hers too. She obviously she did some work before this, so I think that was also one of the reasons why I watched it was because of her.
Tony Danza and oh my god, what was the show?
That had Melissa Milano. Oh yes, I know what show you're talking about. I can't think of it right now.
With Tony Danza and Judith Light, she was the owner. Who's the boss?
Who's
Yes.
the boss? Yes, goodness gracious.
That was an 80s into 90s show, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, the show was good. I watched it a few times. I don't think I ever completed all the seasons, but I did watch it
Okay.
here and there. It was kind of intriguing. So
I
yeah.
love the demon guy that sort of broke in, and now he is on a show called FBI Wanted or FBI, some FBI show on channel CBS.
Oh,
I was
okay.
about to say channel 2. Um,
Channel 2.
he was the worst demon guy that could ever happen to these 3 girls, and he ended up being in a TV show on Showtime called Nip Tuck.
Oh, I
Oh,
remember
okay.
Nip Tuck. I actually stopped watching that show because it got weird with the whole
Yeah,
babysitter cheating thing. I didn't like it.
yeah.
It
Whole
bothered the shit out of me. I couldn't stand it. And now I can't hear the song Wonderwall without thinking of the scene in the car in Nip Tuck. And I'm like, dude, don't fuck the babysitter. Just don't do it. Sorry, spoiler.
That's
Oh man! Spoiler alert,
But
chat.
anyway,
Spoiler alert.
he transitioned from that kind of TV show into a Nip Tuck drama kind of show, and now he's in another drama like police show. So you see that guy like transition in and transition out, and he's always like the jerk, or the mean guy, or the jerk. and and now he is a good guy, and it's kind of hard to see the show without you thinking in the background he's gonna be a total douchebag soon.
He's gonna
Yeah,
eventually
just
be a
waiting
jerk.
for the character arc for him to change. Like, I need the behind the scenes where you're cackling because I know you're gonna do it. Like you're
Oh,
waiting
man.
for the main character to walk away and the dun dun
Oh my God,
dun.
it's coming!
Like I told you it was gonna happen. I told you. Viv, what's your fourth one? What's your fourth pick?
Hey, this is a hard one.
Nah, it's not that
Buffy
hard.
the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, you stole mine again. Are you kidding me? You guys gotta stop stealing my shows, man. That was gonna be my fourth
Well,
one.
it was a toss up for me between that one and Angel, because I
Angel
just
was
like
horrible. I hated Angel.
that. Okay,
She's like, it was my favorite, but okay.
I hated both of them.
I know.
Oh,
It's okay. Mind you, thank you that, Pajama Mama's here, because at least there's another female to sort of like counteract.
yeah.
I didn't watch Buffy. I'm gonna tell you that. I wasn't above. I went for Charmed, and then I was a Sabrina fan, and that was like my.
That was
Ooh,
also
good pick.
that was also another
Really
one
good
that I kind of watched. They were all kind of in the same time frame, so you
The
kind of watch.
witchy, going off of that witchy
Yeah, the
sci-fi,
whole, like,
female
mythical-
empowerment shows. Yeah,
The mythical
I watched
power.
about all.
Yeah, it was kind of great. And anyway, I just like the fact, because of the movie, I was glad that they did a TV show. I'm sad that they didn't cast the same people in the movie for the TV show, for obvious reasons. But the casting that eventually came out of that really like branched out a lot of good actors.
Yeah, it did. It did.
It went into, you have How I Met Your Mother, you have what is it? Cruel Intentions, you have American Pie, you have,
Bones.
Bones,
Angel, which was horrible.
Angel. So, and even the mean guy he's now in that movie, The Runaways, the TV show with The Runaways. He's a grown up now. He's one of the parents in The Runaways.
Okay.
Have you guys seen this?
No, I have not seen it yet.
Marvel's The Runaways on Hulu. Watch it.
Good show.
Yeah.
The
I
father,
keep hearing about it. I keep hearing about it.
the scientific dad that he's very angry at the beginning of the episodes.
Mhm.
He used to be in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as the evil demon guy.
Really? Okay. Yeah, this was
He had blonde hair.
this was my pick for sure. I saw the movie as well. I loved it. I think I have a big thing for vampires. I have no idea why. And I just fell in love with the show. Like from the first episode to the last episode, it was just a great show. I like the chemistry between Buffy and Angel. I think that was something that really drove the show. Spike eventually became one of my favorite characters. It was just a good show, man. Like I've watched the entire series like maybe 3 or 4 times back to back, just like straight through. I just loved it.
The only episodes I watched when Elijah Dushku's character was in there, I forgot what her character's name was. It was the other vampire slayer. The brunette.
She was what was her name? I know who you're talking about. She was Faith.
Yeah, that's the only episodes I watched because her character made me interested in the show. When she left the show, I watched one episode, maybe two, and I was like, I'm done. I couldn't get into it.
All right, Los, what's your fourth?
In Living Color.
Ooh, okay. I discovered Jim Carrey on that one. Good
Dude,
pick. Good pick.
The Wayans brothers were on that. Jim Carrey.
Around the world and back snap.
Yeah, I mean, there were just so many actors in that were just so great.
Yeah, it really was.
And it was
J-Lo as a fly girl.
Funny.
And J-Lo as a fly girl.
Yes.
Yeah,
J-Lo
I forgot she was in that. Yeah, J-Lo. Yeah, it was just a like at that time they weren't star-studded, but like looking back at it now, that was a star-studded cast, man.
Think about it. Jim Carrey, Keenan Ivan Wayans, David Allen Greer, Tommy Davidson, Shawn Wayans, Kim Wayans, Jamie Foxx, Damon Wayans. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So many amazing actors, and they were fucking hysterical.
They were awesome.
Absolutely funny. And they would parody everything, and nothing was safe. Nope. Absolutely nothing was safe. And people loved them for it. Loved them for it.
Like I had to always sort of not watch it the moment that Fire Marshal Bill was on, because he creeped me out so much.
Oh,
it was the most creepiest, like serious, like I couldn't watch that.
His character, yeah, he was very weird, man. Very weird.
The character that creeped me out was Jim Carrey did that female bodybuilder.
Yes, that one too. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, Jim Carrey was hilarious, man. Like I think that was the beginning of his career.
His comedy chops in that one, though. He really stretched his comedy chops a lot.
That was the beginning of his career, but it was so funny at that time. Everyone knew him as the white guy on the show.
Right.
That's what everybody referred to him as. You know. His Vanilla Ice was hysterical. I fucking loved it. When he imitated Vanilla Ice, he's really white, baby. It was fucking funny.
I might have to go back and watch A Living Color. I might have to go back and check it out.
I love Jim. Was it Jamie Foxx with the big lips, girl, and he's looking at.
No, Homie Don't Play That. Remember
Homie
that
Don't
skit?
Play That. Yeah.
Homie Don't Play That. Around the World and Back Snap.
But the show still has problems. Like, remember they had that segment Men on Film, where the two gay men would do reviews, and it was super stereotypical and went overboard. Like now that would not fly at all.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 90s, it was hysterical. It was fucking funny.
It was.
I feel like the 90s was just in such a different mind state during that time. Like I think Lo said it best. Like a lot of stuff that flew in the 90s just would not fly now. Just like the comedy, the things people joked about, you know.
It had to be less. It right now everything is very politically corrected, even more so I think overly corrected. Back in the 90s,
have a political agenda. Like I'm tired of our comedy requiring political agendas and then being PC about it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then
like there's no it's just a joke being a thing.
But then you have comedians like Russell Peters, who just makes fun of everybody, and he gets away with it, and and no one gets insulted by it. You know, there are comedians who can walk that fine line, but they're few and far in between now.
Like George Lopez, he can do that. Wanda Sykes can do it. Huh?
George Lopez always found boring. He always has the same joke. Right now. That's everything. All his jokes are that. You know,
Wanda Sykes is good too.
I'm sorry.
Wanda Sykes.
Yes, she's good.
She's hilarious.
She's really good.
And she walks that fine line too. You know,
that didn't walk the fine line would be Carlos Mencia. He took it too far, too much. Sometimes I watched a show when it first came out, and I didn't mind it. And I grew up in a very Hispanic community, so like when I watched it with my friends, none of them got offended, and so it was okay to laugh. But now you can't laugh at his stuff. It would be canceled immediately. Yeah.
I know the controversy about him stealing jokes and all that other stuff and blah 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 blah, but I always thought he was funny. And he did a one comeback show, and it was a 1 hour special, and it was hysterical from head to toe. I always found him funny. You know, just the fact that he allegedly stole so much material is a shame because it ended his career essentially.
I'm just noticing it because we do have a very diverse cast, like Los pointed out earlier. So it is nice to see because as a white individual, I guess I never really looked at the cast of shows because it's always just been like, oh, I liked the show, I liked the comedy, but I also grew up watching quite a bit of like most of the shows when going over these, a lot of the shows I watched were more black comedy than the white comedies that I watch.
Mhm.
But I never cared. I did get made fun of, I will tell you that. And it's weird to think that I got made fun of for it, but because when we're all talking about shows when we were younger, most of the shows that I watched were of black families, not white families, and people thought that was weird. I never saw a difference. I was like, why does it matter if I watch Sister Sister and That's So Raven rather than Lizzie McGuire? And they're like,
Yeah,
well, because you look like Lizzie McGuire. I'm like, but That's So Raven's fucking hilarious. Why wouldn't I watch that? You know,
exactly.
just because I'm white. So I guess for me, I got kind of like criticized for watching non-white shows, but I never noticed the difference, I guess, because it was just, I
It
hate to
didn't phase
say it,
you
but it was
because
just
you were ready.
people.
You were
No,
already exposed to it.
for you, it was simple. Funny is funny. And so
Mhm.
this is the type of humor you like, so that's what you watched.
Yeah,
People who were making fun of you were very narrow-minded people.
Oh yeah, and I know that because I grew up in a very racist area, to be
You know,
fair.
oh, okay.
so
Until I moved down south. When I moved down south, people didn't give a fuck. Go on.
Where
Nah.
what
I grew
state
up
are
in
you?
Oregon. And then
Okay.
I
oh,
live in Arizona now. So up in Oregon, which is one of the last states to have a lot of racial tension, um, it was up there, and like even my family, when I brought home a black boyfriend, it was like looked down on and stuff. And I was like, I guess. And he made a big deal. He's like, every white girl I ever date, their family, hates me. So I need to make sure your family likes me before we go into it. I was like, my family's gonna love you. Why wouldn't they love you? He's like, because I'm black. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. I love you. And he was like, no, it matters to people. And it actually did to my family. And I never understood it. And I guess, like, for me, I just never understood. I grew up when I was in Arizona, we were 10 minutes from the border. So I was like, quite often minority. I mean, it was like 46 to 50, not that big of a minority, but still, like, I guess I never saw it, so it's eye-opening to see you guys talk about different, shows growing up and how you gravitated towards them a lot because of their diverse cast, whereas, like, for me, I guess I'm just now looking at them like, "Oh, how many did have a diverse cast?" Because I remember, like, Will and Grace had one of the first, like, big
Gay.
gay things,
Mhm.
so people didn't like that. I loved Will and Grace, but I'm
Yeah.
so
bisexual,
funny.
so of course I did, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just I liked the podcast. I liked to see the opening up of, what was important to you guys when choosing your TV shows, and that happened to be a very like reoccurring thing. So I wanted to ask about it.
I think that's also one of the reasons why it's important to have a diverse cast, because just like you said, you didn't think about that until you came on the podcast, and because of that, of the diversity of our podcast, it opened up your eyes to that. Like, and I think that's why we need more of that in television and in film and in music, because a lot of people have different stories to tell.
Yeah.
If you just show one side of the coin, you're not getting like you're kind of like closing your eyes like to the rest of the world. You want to broaden your horizons. You want to open up your eyes to like everything and not just be so narrow minded. So I think that's one of the reasons why we want to have more diversity in film, is so people can tell their story too, you know?
Not
So
only that, it's important for people to see a representation of themselves on screen.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you highlight what they are. What matters is that any kid from any race can see themselves on TV just as a character included in a movie. And that's
Mhm.
all a lot of minorities are looking for. Can I see myself on TV? Period. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important to a lot of people.
Like you have a lot of networks right now that are opening up. Obviously, most networks are online streaming, and there is that whole aspect of being selective to whatever shows that you've been used to watching. But like for example, Stars has a very large LGBTQ plus portfolio of shows. You
Yeah.
have Showtime that has a lot of dramatic shows about eras and documentaries. So does HBO. You have Paramount that has the old school classics, but then you have some reboots in there. And they flip they flip the script a little bit by adding the diversity to the cast. For example, there's a Hawaii 5 show that happened back in the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
or even the 50s, and now you had the new reboot that just finished last year, and that had a whole plethora of different kinds of more in Spanish we say criollo, more culturally based actors to represent the show, because they're in Hawaii, and it's very exotic, but at the same time it does a proper representation of that. So there's a lot of different spaces happening now with selected networks that are being more mindful of these things.
All right. So before we get out of here, let's. I know Viv, you started your
Runner-up.
Honorable
your
mentions.
run up. Yeah. So let's speedball through it so we can get out of here. What's the rest of your honorable mentions before we go?
Well, Renegade was number one, because it had Lorenzo Lamas. And number one, the reason why most of these shows I've picked is because they even have a very beautiful looking cast.
Okay.
Or they have very sexy people on there that I really went, oh. So you had Renegade, you had Blossom, you had Hercules, the
Forgot about
legend.
Blossom.
You had Xena, Warrior Princess. You had Perfect Strangers. You had Frasier and Mad About You.
Good shows.
Mad About You. Yeah.
Especially Hercules. I used to love that show. All right, you Los, what are your honorable mentions?
I only have two.
Okay.
One we mentioned, Living Single, because that show was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
But my number one is a TV show was on Fox that only ran for one season, which no surprise. Space Above and Beyond. It was about a group of fighter pilots that fought aliens, and it was so different because the squad was led by a woman. One, two, you had an artificially created human. That was it. Was part of the cast, and it was just really about partially, TV version of military. But it was still a good show. But it ended on such a sad note where most of the cast got killed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it was a good show. It was a really, really good show.
Interesting.
How about you, KJ?
My honorable mentions, I gotta go with Family Matters. Steve Urkel. He was like he was one of the many icons of the 90s. Like even to this day, people still talk about that character. They still reference that character. Even when they call somebody geeky, they say, "Oh, what are you, Steve Urkel?" They still reference that character to this day. So he's one of the 90s icons.
Man. High waters and jeans.
High waters and jeans. Yes,
There
I
was a
know.
point if you were a blurred, you were called an Urkel.
Pretty much. That's why I say people still reference that character to this day. It's insane. My second one, which is kind of a hybrid of a TV show from the 90s, would have to be TRL. I used to love TRL. That was like the staple of 90s music and pop culture during that time. Like you looked forward to every day what celebrity or what artist or what actor are they going to have on the show today. I actually went to a TRL twice, and that was like a big moment for me as a teenager. But TRL was hot, man. TRL was hot during that time, and that's definitely one of my big memories during the 90s. So, PJ, did you do your honorable mentions already?
Well, I mean, I kind of mentioned, or I said was going to do or thought about doing Will and Grace, I think, for my honorable, or what one of them I mentioned was going to be my honorable, but I,
Yeah,
I
what do you
I had a few that I was like, kind of like Viv, where I was like, I don't know what to pick here.
So
Like
many.
Dinosaur, if you remember that,
Oh
the
man, I
show
Yeah.
forgot about
Dinosaurs
dinosaurs.
was
Baby.
I forgot about that.
I'm the
was
baby.
the 90s one that I wanted to mention. Everybody Loves Raymond was one that I
Yeah.
watched a lot.
Yes. Oh man.
What was it? I mean, Will and Grace was an iconic one that I had
Yeah.
married. I think was it Los said married with no. You didn't say Married with Children.
No,
Married
no,
with
it's
Children
Living
was one that
Single.
I was thinking.
All right, so we're gonna get ready to get out of here, guys. Starting with Los, is there anything you want to leave with the people before we get out of here today?
Any
words of wisdom or
not
any recommendation?
political or political?
Oh boy, here we go with the political.
I gotta ask the question.
Whatever tickles your fancy. Whatever tickles your
I can't
fancy.
wait for Trump to be prosecuted. Okay, I'm done with politics.
Oh
Who?
man.
Trump,
Trump.
Donald
who?
Trump, is going to be
Oh yeah.
prosecuted. Oh,
Oh
I can't wait
geez.
for that. It's going to bankrupt him. But
Again?
Again.
yes, again,
Again. For what? The
again.
third or fourth time?
I actually think it's his fifth time. It
Oh,
would be his
okay.
fifth time. Yeah,
I would say
Jeez.
I know that he's been bankrupt quite a few times, or has
Jeez.
claimed bankruptcy.
but non-political. I just think that what I think about the 90s, I think in 10 or 15 years, you know how they had a slew of movies set in the 70s. I
Yeah.
think in 20 years, all the movies are gonna be set in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
where dial-up was the thing and all this other stuff, where we still had landlines. You know, but I just think that I love the way television is evolving, where you don't need huge audience numbers to have a success, and there are more niche shows for different kinds of people. Whether your humor is dark, whether you like something that's horror based or just silly. I just think that now is a great time for entertainment. Oh, but before I say that, Keith, Evil already started season 2. It's on episode 3 right now.
What?
Oh,
What?
and
Are you
it is
serious?
so good.
What show?
Season 2 has started out better than season 1 complete.
It's this TV show called Evil. If you know the X-Files, it's pretty much if you were to take X-Files and take I don't know, Christianity and like exorcism and just put it into one show. That's basically what it is. It's an amazing show. Los turned me on to it last year. I couldn't stop watching it. Season 1 is on Netflix. Season 2 is
Touched by an Angel.
Paramount Plus.
which one is it on Los?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. I need to do a free trial.
Paramount yet. I need to because they have iCarly too, and I heard that's actually pretty good. A lot of their reboots I heard were good, and I want to try them.
Yeah.
Better than Disney's reboots.
I feel like I
Yeah.
might have to get a subscription to Paramount because I need to watch Evil. It is a freaking
With
amazing show.
Amazon, if you guys saw it, I think Amazon had it for $5.99 a month or something.
Okay.
Okay.
I know
Yeah, I gotta
Apple
check that
TV has it in a package for something as well. So
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch it. It's so good.
I think you can add the channel to your Amazon Prime, and it's
Yeah.
cheaper to add it through Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah. I
Paramount
forgot
Plus.
you could do that.
$5.99 or something like that. Yeah.
All right, what about you, Viv? You
That
got
is-
anything you want to leave the people with before we get out of here? Any recommendations? Any words of wisdom?
So, in the last couple of days, there was a venomous snake, a zebra spitting cobra loose in the state, like not too far from where I live, and it was on a chase. Everybody started freaking out because it was on people's porches. People would spot it. It ate like 3 rodents, and so snakes. I started doing this rabbit hole of things, and I went down the rabbit hole, and I discovered, and since it was so rainy, there's a lot of overflow of water around this area now.
Yeah.
So, a thing to note, if you're ever in a lake or if you're ever in the water of a body of water and you see a snake like swimming,
Hmm.
um, I think I mentioned this one before, but it's duly noted to do it again because of they captured the snake finally, and I was really happy about that. They secured it. They didn't capture it or kill it. They just secured it so that way it's not in danger or endangering anyone else. But if you're in a body of water and you see a head of the snake, if the body of the snake is underneath, that means it's poisonous and it can kill you. If it's sort of gliding and swimming above the water, that means it's not a venomous snake and you can sort of bypass it. So,
See, me, if I see a snake, I'm running anyway, no matter where its body is at. So
Yeah, I'm not passing it.
yeah, but I'm saying
yeah, I know what you mean. But I
Australia,
mean,
where there's a body of water and you see a snake flying around there inside the water, you just know inside the water can kill you, above the water can't kill you.
Where I'm at, if you see a body of water with a snake on it, you're just having a hallucination. It's a mirage. It's the desert. Run.
there you go. There you go. All right, James, do you have anything you want to recommend? I mean, yeah, talk about, recommend, promote before we get out of here.
Me?
Yes, PJ. If not, then it's fine then too.
You know what?
I like
Why don't you plug your channel if you have nothing to recommend? Because
Yeah, there you go.
I personally think people should watch it.
There you go.
Thank you. I was debating on if my channel's what I want to plug or if I just want to put out like a piece of advice. Oh, well, if anybody is on, how do I say this? I am going to do a recommendation actually. It's my newest obsession at the moment. If y'all haven't seen Bo Burnham's Inside and you like things about mental health, not that that's about mental health, it's more about his mental health, but it's still a nice comedy that talks a lot about what we're going through in the world, like the internet and a lot of things that we do, especially if you're a content creator. I think that a lot of people will really resonate with his special that he did. So if you haven't seen Bo Burnham's Inside, it's pretty good.
Interesting.
If
I might have
not,
to check that
come
out.
check out my channel, PajamamamaIV at or twitch.tv/PajamamamaIV.
Yeah, check her
What
out.
was that
She's
address again? Just in case the people didn't hear it.
Twitch.tv/PajamamamaIV. I'm a variety streamer. I mainly do Apex, League of Legends, and then we're gonna start doing MMOs and a couple other things. So
awesome.
there
Awesome.
we go.
And I highly recommend it.
Thank
Yes, highly. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. I appreciate
Do you have anything you want to plug?
you. Yeah, KJ.
check out our patreon.com/JHouze. Make sure, if you guys want to support the podcast for just as little as $1, and then a little more if need be.
Do we have merch, KJ?
KJ's
Jesus.
wearing our wonderful Friends related 90s JHouze radio shirt, and he's totally not
I know, right?
promoting it.
I was gonna-
90s related JHouze. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I was gonna get there.
We're about to start up.
Yeah, we have some JHouze merch. I will have that linked in the description and show notes below if you guys want to support the channel by checking out our merch as well. We got some new merch coming pretty soon as well for just kind of like summer related, so that should be pretty cool. And yeah, we got some other pretty cool stuff coming this summer, like a JHouze radio photo shoot that we might be doing live. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'll keep you guys posted. Other than that, thanks PJ for stopping by. I appreciate it. I know we're probably going a little long.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you guys for having me.
and check her out if you
Have
guys.
another girl on the show.
Yeah, I know.
This is what, my third, fourth freaking podcast? How come Viv and I haven't been together?
Oh, hello, people.
Boys.
Listen, Viv just started coming on not too long ago,
Gentlemen.
but you know what? We'll probably get you guys together more often than not. Depends on PJ's schedule, of course. She's a very busy woman. Very busy woman.
I just gotta remember, that's the only problem. You just gotta tell me, hey PJ, we're starting right now. I need you.
Yeah, like get your ass on the show, like for real.
That's the only problem. I'm normally here. I just gotta click on the button.
Exactly. All right, guys, that's going to be it for JHouze Radio episode 45. Appreciate you checking us out. For anybody live or listening to the audio version, we will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Later.